Welcome back to the OTB Podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast. Got a historic moment here this week, boys. Obviously, in the co-host seat as always, Red Dog. Iconic t-shirt you got there, Red Dog.
I explained earlier, Kerry, if you're going to start trying to monetize this through YouTube, I'm going to start wearing some sort of 2010 spec memorabilia from your glory days.
Oh, that's actually 2009. Even that's
of course,
that's impressive.
Of course it is.
Seriously impressive stuff.
Had to dig it out from the back of the. Well, let's be honest, I wear it all the time, but yeah,
it's from the front of the drawers.
You wear that to bed, don't you, Red Dog? That's your sexy nightwear.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah.
Fantastic. Also joining us, Chris Vanderkolk, Lester Perry, boys. Welcome back. It's good to have the whole band back together.
Hey gents, feels like it's just been
Just
literally a
slowly
couple of days.
sip on your tea and not really do anything. This has started off real well.
Thank you very much, Kieran. It's lovely to be here. It feels like just 2 days ago that we were all hanging out together in Queenstown, eating curry and drinking beer and not doing a lot of mountain biking. But what a pleasure to be back to fill our listeners' ear holes with more rubbish chat.
It felt like we did everything but mountain bike in the weekend.
Yeah, we did. You know what? We probably spent, in fact, I could quantify this, we definitely spent more time watching mountain biking on the TV than we did doing mountain biking.
Yeah, 100% we did. You hit that one right on the head. So we might need to work on that for next trip. Maybe we won't go to a bike race. We'll just go mountain biking instead, I reckon. But
it's a good idea.
This is a historic moment for the OTB podcast because this is going to be our first recorded podcast officially for YouTube, for our brand new YouTube channel. So if you want to
Thanks
watch
to
us,
Byron Scott, who just chipped away until KB started a YouTube channel.
Yeah. So
it happened literally over the course of a couple of beers. Kieran started a YouTube channel.
Yep, straight from the phone. So if you do want to watch us and not just listen to us, you can find us on at the OTB Podcast on YouTube also. Somewhere along the lines, in our classic case of technical difficulties, we've already lost Lester less than 3 minutes into the show, but that's all right. We'll carry on.
Fantastic.
Hopefully we'll find him again at some point. Before we get too far in, though, got to say a quick shout out to our partners of the show, Troy Leather Designs, Smith Optics, and Filthy Bike Wash. Got codes with those guys. You can save 15% for all of them, actually. TroyLeatherDesigns.co.nz and SmithOptics.co.nz have the same code, which is OTB Podcast. Type that in at checkout, save yourself. And Filthy uses OTB15. So jump in there, support the show, buy some merch, like, share, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. But so we touched on the fact we all went down to Queenstown last weekend for the National Mountain Bike Champs, and what is now, I guess, the third running for you guys of the 26-inch champs, right? Number 3 in the books?
No, number 2. Number 2. Officially number 2. Because the first year was just Chris and I, and then subsequent years have been Chris and I and some
Maybe
other people that we know. Yeah.
But you know what? It is just another year in the books where Kieran dogged the boys, but also another year in the books where he added another bike to the collection, which he could be racing and didn't race. So Kieran now has 3 26-inch race bikes.
I'm 3 for 3.
Haven't been touched.
They'll come out one day. I'm going to start a leasing program.
No, you know the rules. You know the rules. Red Dog, what are the rules on 26-inch bikes sitting in garages?
Oh, the claim rule is in effect. Like, there's compulsory acquisition. We actually told Connor McFarlane on Friday when we saw him, mate, that bike comes out of the shed or we take it from you.
Yeah, it's been taken out from underneath you. He didn't seem too worried.
No.
Chris, under what circumstances is KB actually going to ride like that 26 V10? I can't work it out.
Well,
looks
correct
good
me
in
if
the
I'm wrong,
shed.
Kerry, but you didn't ride your downhill bike between last Coronet National Champs and this Coronet National Champs. Is that right?
So from last Coronet National Champs, I did not ride a downhill bike until about 2 weeks before this race, and I did some shuttles in Christchurch with Blinky, and then raced the Christchurch National Round. So yeah, I've raced a downhill bike once in the last 12 months.
All right, so it's competing with that high threshold of availability for downhill time. So it's unlikely to ever see actual ride time, Red Dog. I think we should probably put the compulsory acquisition rules into effect pretty soon.
I'll tell you what,
if anyone's looking for a mint condition 26-inch V10 to race next year, I know where you could get one. I know the code too.
Damn it, I might have to change that.
I also know the code.
If there is a 26-inch, if there is a winter downhill series here in Nelson this year, I promise you, the V10 will get raced.
Amazing.
You heard it.
You heard it here,
You
folks.
promise?
Yeah.
You haven't specified which V10.
The 26-inch one. Because I even have a
And
set
will
of
you
wet screens, 26-inch wet screens, just in case.
Oh, come on. Will you be flying to the islands for the penultimate round, or?
Nah, there's no islands trips this year. Did that last year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's off. It's out of budget.
Get ready, Jake. The battle's on.
We just need a winter series to happen first.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a minor technical issue.
Yeah. It's a pretty sad lack of downhill riding in Nelson these days. There's nowhere to shuttle and nowhere to ride. So one day the glory days will come back.
What once was the powerhouse of downhill?
I think I was the only person from Nelson racing at national champs and downhill.
No, that can't be true.
I couldn't think of anyone else.
Wow.
Was Tim
You're
Nelson
the only
there?
Nelsonian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at the results to confirm this, but I don't even think we really had any juniors or anything down there.
It's insane. They're all into their false economy racing.
No, they're not even that into enduro.
What's happened? What's happened to Nelson, Kieran?
Ins and outs. A lot of ins and outs with land access issues and things like that. So, yeah. We'll circle back to that at a later date. We'll take this one offline.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah. No, it's tough out there. But so boys, you two both showed up on your zeros for national champs. Was there actually, have you had a look at your times compared to last year? Did you get faster?
Yeah, I was 2 seconds faster.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't looked. I'm pretty sure I will have been. I was a second back on my seeding time, so I wasn't overly happy with my race run. But I felt like we got up to speed a lot quicker this year. We worked out a lot of the gremlins in the last 12 months. We're operating on a good chassis here. We've got a good program running, and so now really it's turn up and ride. It's kind of over to us now. I failed on that front, but still.
Did you do any testing, or did you ride about the same amount as I have in the last 12 months?
About the same that you did. Yeah.
No,
I pulled it out of the bag about 3 months after I got home last time, and then it stayed on the wall, and then I put it back into the bag and took it to Queenstown and rode it. And actually, I should have checked whether or not I put all the bolts in properly, because I discovered going into, I think it was seeding, that just stem bolts were just loose. So, that's how prepped we were. We were so unprepared this year.
Do you know what you should do is just not take it out of the bag until next year. You should just leave it in there. It's
still in the bag, Gary, so that's likely.
So's mine. It's not coming out anytime soon.
I had to open the box to get stuff out of it.
Didn't we find one of your pinch bolts as well from your front axle sitting at the condo, Chris?
Yeah, but that was more because I'd forgotten that bikes have pinch bolts for axles. So
they bolted the axle in and then didn't do up any pinch bolts.
Literally, I was like, okay,
Even
cool.
though there's
Axle
4
goes
of
in.
them, they're glaring at you. Right.
Well, 3.
Technically now 3, yes.
You're just trying to save a bit of light.
And they were glaring at me when we're in the gondola.
Woefully unprepared. Yeah.
Oh, that's gold. So good.
I think Byron Scott, who also came down with us, took bike of the weekend. He had a loaner Laha, which was actually loaned to him by Mark Johnson, aka Punter, for the for the generation out there that may know him. But it was I believe that was actually Cam Cole's bike that he won world champs on in 2006 as well. So a bit of history. It was
I didn't actually
a lot of
realize
history.
that. That's pretty
a
cool.
lot of history.
For sure,
Yeah.
bike of the weekend though.
It was a real head turner. There are a lot of folks down there that kind of knew what they were looking at.
Yeah.
And equal parts like impressed and kind of shocked.
Yeah, like is that thing going to survive?
Riding that thing. Yeah.
Even when I was watching up on the hill for race runs, people that were kind of around where I was were like, "Oh, that's a Laha! Oh, that's sick!" Like people knew the history's there. Imagine a Laha with the finely tuned new geometry,
Yeah.
and a few suspension tweaks would be epic.
Hey, actually, question for you: would Horse have raced that bike? Nah, he wouldn't have raced that at Coronet, would he? Because I think 2006 at Coronet he would have been on Iron Horse, and then 2007 he probably would have been on an Iron Horse. Or no, maybe he rode it in 07, or maybe I can't remember. But he would have been on Maxxis by 07. But might have to do some research into that one.
We could ask him; he might know.
Yeah, he wouldn't respond for about another 3 months, though, because that's usually how he goes with when you send him a text.
He's a busy man.
Well, he was supposed to be there this weekend, but he just pulled pin last minute, no word.
Yeah, 11th hour, he just disappeared. He was entered, he had flights, and he just never showed up.
Just didn't turn up.
Mad fail.
That's right.
It's a man of mystery.
Places to be, things to do.
And, Lester, you raced the cross country. Did you not learn your lesson last year?
Well, I think the lesson I learnt last year was to be slightly more prepared than I was last year.
And were you?
And I think this year I was, yeah. Went about it a bit more of a different approach.
Did you learn that lesson before or after you found the crack in your bars?
Well, we'll get to that. But no, it was good. It was it was really just one of those days when things go right and nothing went wrong. So and I felt pretty good. I didn't blow myself up within the first 1 kilometre of the race, so that certainly helped. We were way faster than last year. Well, I was way faster than last year, like verging on 15 minutes faster, I think.
Do you think it backed off, but it had that way less of a climb in it from last year, though, right?
It didn't necessarily have less climbing at all. In fact, it might have even had probably about the same amount, because what you guys wouldn't have seen was the second climb. So you went, last time all the climbing was in one go. In that one climb was in one go, but now this time around you went up to that fence, turned off down onto the road, climbed up the road, did a little bit of a jigger across the side of the hill, and then hit another like steep as climb before you hooked into the XC track and then came back down a section we didn't ride last year. So I'd have to have a check, but I would just kind of tentatively say it would be about the same vert we did last year, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, it was a very different ball game. Not being hot, not having, like that particular main climb was probably, I don't know, like 3 to 4 minutes less.
Yeah, it was pretty grim last year.
One climb, yeah. So I think that made a massive difference, which played into my hands a lot better. And I think the other thing was I ran a smaller chainring, a couple of teeth less, and I just kind of did my own thing. Like I didn't try and chase the dude who ended up winning. And in hindsight, maybe I could have chased him on the first lap, but I don't know what would have happened after that.
Yeah.
If I'd known I was
second place for you.
Yeah, start with second. If I knew that I was going to feel that good come the end, I might have chased him early on. But hindsight's a wonderful thing.
So we had two podiums out of the household, with Byron winning the Masters 40 and the 20. Oh no, he didn't win the 26-inch title, did he? There was another guy. So
Yeah. There was another guy.
Weird.
Simon Reed. He won the 26 national championship.
Do we know how much
he
he won by?
Actually.
Let's get him on the
13 seconds.
13 seconds. That is a margin.
Yeah, he did a 309 on that zero.
Jesus, that was some hill type sort of margin right there.
Fast.
Yeah, it's hill type, hilliest margins. Yeah,
309. That's rapid.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was a younger lad as well, right? It seemed like he was racing the 26 kind of like by choice, as opposed to because he was period correct himself, which I think is impressive, commendable. There were two of them, two young lads on 26 and 5. It's amazing.
Yeah, both in senior men class, so they were less than 30, younger than 30, eh?
Because there was another guy on a V10, wasn't there? 26-inch V10.
Yeah, he didn't officially enter, and I don't know who that was.
Did you have official entries, or was it just what you guys picked out of people riding around on?
No, you have to enter.
No, there are official entries.
Come on, mate. There's official entries.
Was there? I didn't pay any.
Yeah.
Right, I didn't pay any attention to that.
Yeah, it's
you
got a website.
are just the worst, eh?
I'll tell you what, probably my favourite part of the weekend.
Your podcast is the title sponsor, and this is how you treat this race? Unbelievable.
My favourite part of the weekend, I think, was doing practice on Saturday morning. It was nice and dry and like good temperature, and then I packed everything up, and then it pissed with rain, and you guys just got decimated.
It was fun though. It was fun.
I'm sure it was.
A couple of mud laps are a good time. It was character building.
It made me feel like a downhiller again.
Yeah,
it
wouldn't be a national race without a wet one,
But man, by race runs on Sunday, you couldn't tell that it even rained. The track was just back to dry again.
That track's incredible for that, eh? Like,
yeah,
there was standing water all over the track on Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday morning, it's just perfect.
Yeah. By about 10 a.m. Sunday morning, it was at its absolute peak, and then it started just drying out. But it was still pretty good. By the time we raced it, it was still pretty mint.
It was awesome.
Man, I don't know if you guys caught it, but there's a full GoPro run that Lockie Stevens McNabb did from his winning run. And did any of you guys watch that?
I watched the one that he did in his first practice run.
Right. So I watched his one, and watched it a couple of times actually, because he put 8.5 seconds into me, I think. And so I started watching it, and I actually worked out where I lost all the time. So you go out of the start gate, and you got that little bit of a drop into the first right-hand turn. So essentially, straight after you hit that right-hand turn, from there to the finish line, I just lost it there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of corners in there.
It was absolutely rapid. I was watching it just like going, holy shit, waiting. There was corners where he was literally bouncing out of them. You can see the way he is like hitting these ruts so hard and like bouncing kind of squared up out of these ruts and into the next like section of the track. And I'm just watching it going, fuck that. I don't have that kind of commitment anymore at 36 years old.
That's I watched his first. If you were hitting that practice run, Kieran, like every weekend, like a lot of those guys down there do you think you'd be able to cover a bit of that gap, or do you reckon it's just he's not going any faster than this?
So I ended up on. So for me to cover that gap, you reckon?
Do you reckon you could close it if you spent more time on that track? Because a lot of those guys that spend a lot of time down there, like it's their backyard track, right?
It's that kind of track. It's the more laps you do on it, the faster and faster you get. Like it's like a slot car track. There's actually nothing to it except for just knowing how hard you can hit each turn and memorizing them all. But like I did 3 3 minutes flat, essentially. I definitely think like another couple of days and I'd pull a couple more seconds out of it, but I don't think I'd be going down under like a 55 or anything like that. Like that was hauling us. But then there was a few bits I watched of his run and I'm like, just small lines where I'm like, man, that was quite good. He carried quite a bit of speed by just cutting across that section or just doing that. So yeah, it's definitely a few good little lines that you can find in there to just go that wee bit faster. They're all mental. I mean, Tyler Waite under 19 was fastest time of the day.
Crazy,
He put like 1.5 seconds into Lockie, who won elite. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's such a good performance, eh? That's unreal.
Hey, I don't know.
He's got something, eh?
Oh yeah. I mean, we saw him do it, put a fastest time of the day a couple of times last year as well, I think. So it's not a surprise. It's not like you're going, Jesus, where did that come from? Clearly Yeti's seen some potential in him to give him one of those like unobtainium Yeti downhill bikes to race on. But you guys probably wouldn't have caught it, but Lockie doesn't actually get to run the national sleeve this year because there's a UCI rule that essentially the under 19 and elite join together, and this is through through downhill and cross country. It's under 23 and elite, but because an under 19 went fastest time of the day, Tyler will be the only one wearing a national championship sleeve this season. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Pretty interesting one.
That's an interesting one. At face value, that kind of seems fair because they're on the same track. But can you imagine if they had like different race conditions between juniors and elite, and like get a wet race run for juniors? Like that would be fucked.
They should. I mean, if they're going to run it like that, they should.
Yeah.
I mean, still keep the classes separate, but maybe they should. And under 19 and elite should all just be seating together and racing at the same time.
That's the only way that makes it fair, isn't it?
Because you imagine if it poured with rain after the juniors, and it's a total different. Half an hour later the track's saturated. It's totally different. It doesn't really make any sense.
That would just be a joke, wouldn't it?
I mean, by doing that, they're effectively saying that under 19s and elite are the same class, right? Like, it's sort of weird that you would get the title but not the jersey. Who gets the title?
It's pretty weird. Like, so here's the rule. In the DHI National Championships, where the elite and under 19 races are run as a combined race, each grade will have separate medal presentations. In the case of an under 19 winning the combined race, only one national championship jersey will be awarded to that rider. In the case of an elite winning the combined race, the winner will be awarded an elite national jersey, and the first place under 19 will be awarded with an under 19 national jersey. So it's
who is
the under 19 rule?
Yeah, that's random, isn't it?
So that's for the jerseys, but is Tyler listed as the national champion, or is he the under 19 national champion, but he gets the elite jersey?
I don't really know, to be honest. That's actually the
weird.
Cycling New Zealand rule. This is the UCI rule that I pulled out of the book. Basically, except for the World Championships, downhill events are open to all riders aged 17 or over. At the World Championships and the World Cup, separate junior events are organised for the men and women. For all other downhill events on the international calendar, the UCI points are awarded in relation to the rider's time and not their category. To ensure that this rule is correctly applied, only one combined result needs to be sent to the UCI. And then it's got comment, when a junior downhill rider would score the best time at the national championships, he or she must wear the elite jersey. The junior jersey is not awarded in this case. So it essentially sounds like
he's
Tyler
the
national champion, whereas it's still obviously Lockie won elite. So it's a bizarre rule, and reading the UCI one, it almost sounds like it's based around making life easier for them to award points as to why they've done this for the jersey. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So does that mean that a junior, the whole junior field could get more points than the elite field if hypothetically they had like a full dry day, and then the elites raced in the pissing rain. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Mm.
really, then for national champs, the juniors and the elites should be racing at the same time and seeded together into a fair order.
Shit, yeah.
What about
So-
two classes?
But, you know,
What about- didn't you do that one year, Kieran?
Race 2 classes?
Race 2 races? Yeah, race 2 classes.
Don't think so.
So
do you
someone
think
did it
about
like
that?
Oceanias or something.
Blinky and Cam raced elite all through the national series, but then they dropped back down to junior for national champs.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think.
What does the rule book say in the event that two people ride the same bike and win their class? Who gets the jersey? The person on the front of the bike or the person on the back of the bike, Kieran?
Well, what about if it's what about if they're side by side? Then they
Well, side by
both cross the line at the same time. Otherwise, it's the person on the front is obviously the first to cross the
Yeah,
line.
well,
Chris.
That's the thing, like-
yeah.
Well, yeah. So if we've got a tandem category at national champs, do the rules stipulate that it has to be tandem longitudinally, or can it be tandem latitudinally? Like, you'd have more, like, probably a lot harder to do it that way. But is there room for experimentation in how tandems can be set up at national champs? Kerry, your thoughts?
Do you think you could get down? No, you probably couldn't get Coronet on a side by side. That'd be pretty good, but those first few corners are pretty tight.
What about
Maybe
if
down.
it's one in front of the other, but they're both sitting sideways?
Are they sitting the same direction?
And one's
They're both facing south. Like,
no,
one's port side and
exactly, yeah. Well, that way one handles the left-hand turns and the other one handles the right-hand turns.
What if they rip a big
I mean-
skid across the finish line so they're
What
both
would be-
like
I
crossing at
tell
the
you
same
what
time?
would be equally as much of a joke is if somebody racing a tandem made it onto a national championship podium.
God. This is a trigger warning. It's a trigger warning here.
Careful.
Oh, God. I mean, you can't even wear shorts at a fucking downhill race anymore, but you can turn up and race a tandem.
We tried, Kerry.
We asked Derek about
we asked Derek. We tried to position it.
I mean, it's the most ironic thing that Derek had zip-off pants on, so he could change the shorts at any moment.
He was ready for the rule
He was
change.
almost taunting us. He was taunting us.
He was
For those
laughing at
states.
us.
I rolled into the start gate for my seating and race runs with my full length sleeve jersey rolled up above the elbows, not the shoulders, the elbows, and no one said a word. So I wore a short sleeve.
It's ridiculous.
In
Do we need
fairness, I don't think anyone's looking too closely at the Masters 1 class.
No.
Do we need to have a little talk and let the listeners know who Derek is? And because he's become somewhat of an infamous icon of the sport in New Zealand.
Oh, I mean, man, he's been a
He
commissaire
is.
since we were racing as juniors. Like, Christ, we went to Mount Buller Oceanias in 2005, and he was like something to do with Mountain Bike New Zealand, I think, even at that point, and he was like the team manager that took us all over there. Like, that guy's seen some shit. I can't believe he's still around.
No, it's just strange that he would be so into it still after all this time.
Actually, here's another one for you. I mean, this is before my time, but Mont Saint Anne World Champs, I think they were like 98, maybe. He was the team manager for the New Zealand team there as well.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Was it?
I bet
Was
there's
it-
something written in the Cycling NZ handbook that stipulates that Derek has to be a commissaire at a New Zealand mountain bike event. So, like, it's not even a case if he wants to be. It's in the rule book, and because he is such a stickler for the rules, he's then sticking to that.
Yeah. It's got to do
So
it.
he's just
He
there for
lives his
perpetuity.
life. He lives his life by the UCI rulebook.
How do you
One
think
rule
Derek
book at a
felt when
time.
he saw Byron Scott roll up on a 20-year-old Lahar?
Triggered.
He's
Trigger.
probably
Yeah.
he's been in counselling as soon as he got home. He's come back to get me.
Oh,
He's come
God.
back to haunt.
That poor
I
guy.
wonder how he got into it. How do you think Derek got into it?
Maybe we need to do a
Get him on.
podcast with him.
We
It's
should, eh? We should
honestly,
do a podcast with him.
he has been around for that long that he's like from a racing angle, man, he would have seen some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And those years that
Do you-
we haven't been involved, he's obviously still been there.
Yes.
Do you think he's actually watching the racing, like, or is he just just making sure that the rules are being kept to. He's
I'd
He's
say
sort of not actually there for the racing. He's just kind of short sleeves,
The
age,
only
tandems, no tandems,
place
etc.,
I
etc.
saw with the race was at the bottom of the chairlift.
having a Coke.
Yeah, and also at the top
Now
of
the
the
top
chairlift.
is a Coke.
Also
Having a
having a
Coke.
Coke.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just on a slight aside, at the start of the cross country, when we were all kind of getting gridded up, getting in the call up, they were scanning bikes with their fancy iPad,
No.
looking for motor scanning.
No.
Yeah.
Jeez, good thing I
What?
didn't
Didn't
show
scan
up
the
on my
zero.
secret one.
I know. I was just laughing. I was like, "What are you guys up to?" No one here is. No one.
That's
And then,
amazing.
like, I mean, the guy made a point. He was like, "Well, the last person who got caught out was racing a junior cyclocross. I think it was. It was a few years ago."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Has that actually happened?
Yeah.
Has someone
Yeah.
been caught for motor doping?
young
Yep.
Belgie. Yeah,
M Van Empel, was that her? Something like that.
I
Maybe
think
I'm
it
thinking
was.
of someone
Wow.
else.
It was quite a few years ago. Like maybe
Yeah.
10, maybe going on 10 years ago. Like quite a while ago. But apparently her brother was caught for doping as well.
It's in the family.
Yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
yes. So watch out, everybody. Cycling
It's,
New Zealand have a scanner.
That's hilarious. That was 2016. So yeah, it's actually come back a while ago now.
Oh, was it
That she-
2016 that she got busted?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
yeah,
it was
not quite
no,
10
it was
years.
20. It was 2015. The ban is backdated to October 11th, 2015.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, not
E-bike
far
tech
off.
would have been pretty crap back then, eh?
It would have been terrible. I don't know what they would have been getting out of it because batteries and motors were pretty shit back then.
Yeah.
That's great though that they were scanning like masters and sport bikes in in New Zealand national route.
Yeah. Let it be noted though, they didn't scan the winner of Masters bike. So
Oh,
yeah,
If anyone is going to be like motor doping, it's going to be in the Masters class or the Master 2 class. So
100%.
that like overly competitive old boys that also have the resources to do something as crazy as fucking find a bike that they can get a tiny motor inside.
yeah, totally.
It's
Absolutely.
like stories of like old boys in like senior road racing just doping up to the gills because they just have to win.
Yeah.
There's definitely some stories around for sure.
Oh, that's great. Anything else on national champs? There's nothing else I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, I nearly
Oh,
ended my life.
This is a story to.
So we were sitting in the cafe on Saturday,
Yeah, I think it was Saturday.
waiting for the rain to go, and we were talking to his name
Jacob
Josh?
Turner.
Jacob, who had on Thursday broken his handlebar off the big-ish send, high-speed sender at the bottom of the cross-country track, and he had ended himself. He was knocked out for 4 minutes.
He looked like someone had just beaten his face into a pole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
how
was.
long after that 4 minutes
wasn't
did
good.
we see him? Because he didn't look like he was in a good way.
That was a couple of days before.
That was a couple of.
I
It
thought
was
he
the
was still not
Thursday apparently. So anyway, he was looking really bad, and I was like, "Oh, my bars are pretty old on my bike." And by this point, I think I'd already raced. And then Sunday morning, I got up
Yeah.
when you boys were heading up for practice, and I thought, well, I'll ride up to the top of Coronet and then do the round Coronet loop. And I had some sunglasses on, got up to the top, and as I kind of dropped into the track, the corners were still in the shadows. Every right turn I couldn't even see. So I stopped and took my glasses off, and the light just kind of caught this. Well, I had the gloss on my bar was like peeling off a bit. It's peeling off all over the bars, but there was a new piece peeled off, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And I kind of just pushed it with my thumb, and it flaked off, like quite a big piece. And then the light kind of caught, and I was like, oh, that looks like a crack. I thought, nah. So I sort of like polished it up a bit, got some classic Coronet sand onto it and gave it a bit of a rub, and sort of couldn't really see it again. And I thought, oh, I'll do a few more turns and just stop and have another look. So I did some more corners, and then I could see the crack even more after like another couple of minutes. So yeah, that was probably lucky that I found it then, as opposed to 20 k's later when I was right around the back of Coronet by myself. And
Or you hadn't done
still
that.
there.
Or you hadn't done that huge ride you were thinking about doing, getting the Earnslaw across the other side of the lake.
Well, that I was going to do on a gravel bike, fortunately.
Right.
So that would have been right. But either way, it would have been a bad way to finish my weekend and potentially finish my life. So, yeah, not ideal. But those will be coming off the bike as soon as I get it out of the bag and going straight in the bin.
Seems like we're all having issues with getting bikes out of bags at the moment.
It's a common problem on coming home, that's for sure.
Well, I got Enduro National Champs this weekend, Cable Bay Enduro. So the downhill bike.
You forgot about Ellie. You forgot about Ellie Hasselbosch, the person I don't really know anything about.
Oh, winning National Champs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were just telling tales of National Champs. I wasn't really recapping it that much, but...
I thought we were going to recap.
Well, Ellie Hasselbosch, that Red Dog still thinks he doesn't know anything about, won the juniors.
I don't know anything about it.
No, so first year junior, so she was up against current world champ Iris van Leuven. We also have Sasha Ernest, Poppy Lane, the three girls that were on the podium at World Champs last year. So no, she rode well. I don't know whether she was to win or happier that she was getting a post-race interview on the podcast. She was pretty stoked when I asked her to come do an interview.
Pumped on it. That's rad.
Was Benoit happier to be getting a post-race interview, or like just happy to be in Queenstown, out here racing and riding and socialising?
I felt like Benoit didn't know what I was actually talking about or there for. I think he was very confused. I think he maybe just thought I was a fan who wanted to record a conversation with him.
Almost definitely.
Well, you are.
Yeah. It's not far off. You're right.
That's the new thing.
Did
It's
you
like
get
going
that
up to
interview?
pros, and instead of getting a selfie, you just put a phone in their face and interview them.
Yeah, that's it.
I've got to say that that post-race interview pod came out pretty well, so that was legit.
Yeah, it's had a good reception, and they're quite fun. They're good to do, so I enjoy them.
If you're a big time investor, someone should fly you around the world to do those at World Cups, Kieran.
They should.
If you've, I don't know, maybe got a private jet or something. I don't know. There might be people listening to this podcast with private jets.
Well, I mean, even if you had a wake boat, you could probably, probably be sweet too. We could do that just on the wake boat.
You know what? I actually realised that we missed a lot of stuff from National Champs because, initially coming into it, it seemed like it was going to be a bit of a flop with not many people there, but it ended up being a very, very competitive field because Benoit showed up and raced, Emery Perron, Dylan Maples, Rasheen O'Callaghan. Who else was there?
Matt Walker.
Oh, Matt Walker, Greg Williamson. It was a pretty stacked international field that showed up and got amongst it, which was quite cool.
And where were the rest of the Kiwis though, Kieran?
At Hurtline, is that what it's called? Or Hardline? Hardline, sorry.
There was only 4 of them over there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. Was there only 4?
On.
Okay. Fair enough.
But it would have been a better race if they'd been here racing downhill.
That's true.
I'll tell you what though, it bodes pretty well for, the coming summers. We talked about this a bit over the weekend, but there is an opportunity for a real good pre-World Cup season money race held in New Zealand. Like all these guys are coming out here. I was going to do my homework on this, but I didn't. But it'd be really interesting to know how much of the top 20 World Cup field have been down to New Zealand the last couple of years. Because you'd say fair number of them.
Yeah, the last couple of years for sure. It's been a bunch, and then I see some of the guys from Hardline have turned up over in New Zealand this week. Obviously gone from Tassie to here. Saw Ronan Dunn's in Queenstown this week, and then there's a bunch of people leaving. Actually, Miriam Nicole's there as well. She didn't race, but Valley Hole raced. So yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, yeah, you could put on a money race in Queenstown, I think it would be pretty highly contested at this time of year.
Shall we pull together all of our OTB income and put a prize pool up, the OTB Open?
Well,
do you think it'd be worthwhile?
currently, I mean, if we fronted all the expenses, then we would probably be able to put up a prize pool of about
A bag of popcorn.
$38 maybe. Do you think they'd come for that?
Well, really,
What,
it's about legitimacy of the event, not so much the prize.
It depends how much merch our listeners start buying as to how big the prize pool will get. So
Oh, there you go. There's
the more merch, the bigger the prize pool, and the
There's
more
an
riders we can
incentive.
get.
I reckon we could appeal to Smith and to Royley for like a few spot prizes, a few giveaways. Like you get a pair of Wildcats if you take the W.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could go all right, you know.
Well,
I mean,
what about if someone can secure a big money prize? We'll put the race on,
are we making them pay an entry fee?
and
Is that all?
no, that's all.
If someone can fund it,
We'll give
We'll
them an
do it.
OTB hat if they can secure us a big money prize pool.
Don't give away too many of those. We're running out of them.
Well, mine's still pretty clean.
Oh, that's all right. You can. Has
imagine
it
that,
still got the
imagine
sticker
that
on it?
clause.
Oh no, I took the sticker off. Mine's
Ah.
technically secondhand. It's used. Used goods.
Imagine that track or a new one, like a new Coronet track, lined top to bottom with vans, and like the whole top 20 World Cup racing for like 50 grand or something.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that'd be
sick.
sweet.
From what I've heard from a few different people, is that they are like pushing pretty hard to get a World Cup there.
Mm.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor floating around.
It would have to be early in the season, though. It would have to be like the opening round, because you know if you leave it too late, obviously it turns to winter. I'm sure they get another couple of months out from here, but it would have to be early.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a problem though, because the season needs to be longer. Like it needs to be stretched out. Mind you, having said that, with global warming, we're all fucked anyway. There is not going to be a winter up Coronet Peak.
I think that's why they're putting this resource consent in for like multiple mountain bike tracks so that they can operate all year round.
Future-proofing.
Yeah.
That's certainly the word on the street, is that's in their 25-year plan, is to replant the hill and turn into a mountain bike park and move all the mountain biking off the gondola
Skyline. Yeah.
hill, out to there, off Skyline Hill.
Well, you look at all
That's
the
pretty
stuff they're building down off the bottom, like all those trails down off the bottom as well, and it's like it's a pretty awesome hill for it.
Yeah,
it's a sick
Pretty
hill, that's
amazing.
for sure. Yeah.
Put a gondola up from the bottom. Double
Hard to
gondola.
hit Atlas afterwards, though, from there. Hard to
Yeah,
hit
it's
That's
hard
that
Atlas.
attitude.
Hard to find a seat at Atlas.
Yeah.
They might have to open
It's
one
hard to find a...
an on-mountain Atlas.
It's hard to
I
find your
couldn't
mates.
find a seat there because you guys didn't even invite me.
It's hard to find your mates when they tell you they're going to Smith's and they don't even show up there.
It was just a minor
Unbelievable.
technicality.
Yeah, it was Byron. Don't sweat the details. We were talking about people not being at national champs, and Hardline was on, which most of us did. Did any of you guys actually make it all the way to the end? We tried watching it on Saturday night. I went to bed. I got bored.
Me too.
I watched it to the very end, the bitter end. It was interesting. I mean, look, this is from a viewer's perspective, right, and a fan of racing's perspective, not from someone who was there or whatever else. But it did seem like it seemed like a little bit of a confused event from a distance. You know, you're watching the racing and you're tuning in for it, and because it's like a invite-only field, you kind of go, okay, cool, like everyone here is worth watching. And the first 10 guys are all free ride guys, which is cool. You know, no shade on them, but they weren't racing.
Tough watch though.
And so then you're watching it going like, well, like I'm not watching the times fall here. I'm not watching it get tighter and tighter and tighter as you move through the field. And then you get the first kind of racer through. I think it was Connor, maybe.
On a fair and kind of laid down the first heater. Really.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, cool. So now we're racing, and it sort of, I don't know, that sort of put a bit of a dampener on how good it was to actually follow and watch. And then, you know, and then the coverage was sort of good, but it sort of felt like you were watching kind of like a kind of a manufactured event that was sort of put on mainly for the hype, not for the racing in a way.
It didn't do the course justice, I think, was part of the problem.
No.
Like when you watch the GoPro runs and phone footage and stuff on Instagram and that, like, it looked pretty awesome. Like some of that stuff looked massive, and the course looked really, actually, apart from the fact it had some monstrous jumps and drops in it, like watching them ride the course, it looked really fun to do laps on. But then when you're watching the like TV footage, it was just, I don't know, like it just didn't do it justice. Like it looked kind of boring.
No,
I don't think.
that's kind of what I mean. It's like,
I don't think it was helped by the conditions either. Like the dappled light, you just couldn't see any trail feature that was in the trees. The only features that stood out were the kind of like 8 features on the trail.
Yeah.
I was talking to Cam McKenzie today about Hardline, and he said it was like the vibe over there was insane, and all the riders were just frothing it.
Yeah.
And I think that come across pretty well in some of the Instagram posts and videos that I've seen. Like the riders want to be doing that stuff. They like the course. I actually, in hindsight, think it was a good racetrack. But the thing which made it really cool was not the features. The features make people go, but the actual racing happens between the features. And it would seem that like everyone was hyped on it. So I would hope that next time round, they don't just invite a whole bunch of free riders into it, because they don't do that in Wales.
No.
So
no, they did this year though. This year just gone, that was the first year they did that. Like they brought on a heap of people who have
Actually,
big
you're right. I do
followers
remember that now.
and whatnot, and then they couldn't race it because of the
True.
wind. So the guys like Matt Jones and all those guys were there.
They were there too.
I don't know if all of them were going to race. Like I think the idea was that they were going to be there and do some coverage. I mean, it's pretty obvious that a big part of it is the reach piece, right? Like the riders are probably partly selective for their reach on social, but
the Welsh one seems a lot more technical, like big lippy jumps, technical jumps, super technical riding, rocks and things like that. Whereas this seemed like just really fast, like big long jumps. Whereas I feel like the ones in Wales had some real techie and like tricky, hip jumps and on-offs and like some jumps that you kind of like some drops that you had to really kind of like get your line in coming into them to make. And it seemed quite different in that aspect, which nothing wrong with it. I think it actually probably goes to show how this could be quite a cool offside series to the World Cup, where you'll get these different styles of hardline tracks, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because what I heard is that they want to do a 4-race series next year of this. And so, I mean, maybe we'll see some guys who become hardline specialists.
I think that that could be awesome if there was, I think if that's what it became, and it was interesting, slightly different, more challenging, or whatever tracks, and the guys were like everyone was racing, then I think it could turn into like a really compelling series to watch. But if it's still sort of, again, this is from a viewer's perspective, but if it still looks like part kind of free ride event, part race event, part social media kind of activation, it can be a little bit difficult to follow. I think one thing that was pretty cool is like that massive double that they had at the bottom of the track was fucking cool. Like more of that in downhill races, just big booters out in the open, because it's impressive to watch. And when you see how fast those guys are going over that stuff, it's gnarly.
I can't believe Louise Ferguson still hit it after her 2 massive crashes in her run.
Yeah, that's mad props.
What an absolute trooper.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, totally. That says a lot about those girls that raced as well, that they were the only two that were able to race because they had everything. Like, that shit must be no joke, man.
No, it's pretty massive.
You can have all the big features you want, but if the track in between doesn't separate anyone and create good racing, then you're going to lose any sort of intrigue, I think.
Yeah, totally.
And it's still racing. It has to be race focused, not free ride focused.
And that's what it has to be in order to be a series, right? To go from being like a cool kind of one-off event, which is kind of interesting and a bit different, to like a race series that people follow. then it needs to be, there needs to be a stronger racing component in it.
Because it also
that's all from a viewer's perspective, right?
What is
How
like?
about
You also found like Rob and Elliot fall flat because they got nothing to talk about. Like there's nothing differentiating anyone. It's just.
I know what that part was a little bit embarrassing as well. Though. Like, there were points where the guys were talking about, like Rob was talking about what filming these guys like to do and what content they like to create and everything, and you're sort of sitting there going, like, that's pretty weird filler. Like, this guy loves creating videos when he's at home on his bike, blah blah. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, he's a social media star, we get it, but like, are we commenting a race here, or are we just providing filler?
Having a catch up.
Because they're incredible when the racing's going on. Yeah.
They should just have two categories. It should be a speed category and a style category. And then they could mix it together days.
And they could call it speed and style, and you could get points for doing tricks.
That would be progressive.
They could call it speed or style.
I think it should be speed or style.
And or. Speed and or style. You can choose. You can have it. You can have both. You can have one or the other. It's up to you.
Why not have both?
Do they have separate podiums, or do we somehow? Who gets the jersey though?
Oh, good question. Is it the speed? Is it a speed jersey or a style jersey?
Yeah. I mean, what is very cool. I don't know what the dollars were, but it sounds like they had good prize money. So
I'm sure
that's pretty sweet.
Sure, it probably was pretty decent.
If you think about the fact that if they pull together 4 rounds of that, plus Crankworks,
we've lost the estimate seasons,
which seem to be getting more legit.
He's having a rough night.
RedBull got him
tonight. Yeah,
if they can pull that together,
RedBull.
You could have some specialists to do just that or just the other.
Big Brother's watching.
Quite good.
I didn't really have much more after Hardline. I don't know if we're going to get Lester back or not, but how was?
He did.
Yeah, he's gone. We've lost him to the Waikato. Are we doing this all again next year? Are we going to national champs, or are we just going riding somewhere?
Is national champs going to be in Rotorua?
From what I hear, maybe I'm breaking some sort of embargo, but that's what I've heard.
If we're doing this all again, I need to ride
my downhill bike once a year.
I'm taking my trail bike as well, though. Like what was it? Saturday. We didn't practice until 1:30.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But it was
going
raining,
hitting some laps on the trail bike. Not in the morning.
2 whole hours of practice.
Rotorua is drivable though, so we can bring both bikes.
Yeah. Are we doing the triple header at Rotorua? Like take the XC bike, the downhill bike, and the trail bike. We'll do a triathlon.
Yeah. Kieran, you were going to talk about the National False Economy Champs happening this weekend.
Oh, the National False Economy, aka the Enduro Champs.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying I've dragged myself into those. I was supposed to be racing the Summer Series event in Crankworks Summer Series in Christchurch, mostly because I wanted to just keep racing my downhill bike. So I was pretty much just saying that the downhill bike is probably just going to live on in the bike bag for quite a bit longer because I have zero reason to get it out now. Done my 2 downhill races this season, and I don't have any in the foreseeable future. So who knows when that thing will come back out. Big hitters this
why don't
weekend.
you just take it with you on the next sales trip, like your next work trip to Queenstown? Just take it with you, throw it in the van, and go and hit some laps.
That'd be pretty good, actually. It's not a bad idea.
You got Dead Eye
I'll
Dick
come with you.
showing
That
up.
sounds fun.
He's come.
Yeah,
He's in the wrong nation for national champs, but
yeah, Richie Rude is in town. Yeah, it's gonna be a decent race. Charlie Murray, Eddie Masters. I'm actually going out for a ride with
that would be good.
Richie tomorrow. Go and show him some local trails.
Are you?
So I haven't seen him in a while, so it'll be a nice little catch up.
You're getting him in the hot seat. Do our listeners get to hear from?
We're working on it.
There you go.
Yeah, there might be a Richie Rude in the hot seat coming down the track. So
he's a Smith guy, isn't he?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
He is. Yeah, he's a Smith guy.
He's a Smith guy. So there you go.
Cross promotion.
He's obliged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we'll see.
He's a guy that you could say to him, "Hey, what's your favourite glasses that you're running at the moment?" He'll give you a straight answer. He actually will.
Yeah. He'll be good.
Also, I remember the time that I met Richie and I shook his hand, and it was like having my hand shaken by a bear. Like, big, massive paws.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, give me my hand back.
He is awesome, eh?
I'm a little bit worried. He'll tear me to pieces tomorrow, but it's all right. Maybe I'll take the e-bike.
He's good to follow, man. He's brutal, eh?
Yeah.
He
Just
can
stuff.
corner like no other. Yeah.
No, absolute weapon.
So good.
Well,
yeah.
I think we've lost Leicester for good. So it's probably a good chance to sign off. And we'll see if we can pull Leicester out of the weeds for the next episode. But thanks, boys. And if you've been watching on YouTube, congratulations, you've made it this far. Like, share, subscribe. If you're listening through Apple or Spotify, make sure you give us a rating and also subscribe and tell a friend. You tell a friend, they tell a friend. Help us grow, buy some merch, support the sponsors that support us. We'll see you next time.